Iranian authorities say they have launched a broad internal security crackdown, detaining dozens of people accused of working with foreign intelligence services and militant groups, and seizing weapons and communications equipment in what officials describe as a coordinated effort to disrupt alleged sabotage networks inside the country. State-linked outlets in Iran have portrayed the operation as a sweeping response to what they call an expanding web of spy and mercenary activity. In one wave of arrests, Iranian media have reported roughly 50 detentions tied to claims of collaboration with the United States and Israel. Officials allege those detained were collecting and transmitting sensitive location information described as including infrastructure and public service facilities while using communications tools that authorities say were imported or smuggled into the country. Iranian officials claim raids tied to the case led to the seizure of electronic devices, satellite command, communications gear, and weapons items they say point to an organized intelligence effort rather than isolated activity. In parallel, police announced a separate raid in the capital, saying they moved on a location in the city's eastern area and recovered what they described as a sizable weapons cache. Authorities said the haul included firearms, grenades, and military-grade ammunition, and they framed the discovery as evidence that hostile networks remain active and operational on Iranian soil. The scope and specific allegations, however, remain difficult to independently verify. Publicly available information has largely come through Iranian state-linked reporting or official statements. As of now, there has been no confirmed public response from Washington or Tel Aviv addressing the specific claims tied to the latest arrest figures, the alleged intelligence links, or the items Iran's intelligence ministry said it had detained 9 individuals in recent operations, again describing the suspects as tied to terrorist groups and enemy networks. The ministry alleged that some of those detained had been recruited to pursue activities intended to undermine national security during what Tehran describes as escalating U.S. Israeli pressure and confrontation. Iranian officials further claim that 27 of the detainees were linked to 2 separate militant organizations, an assertion presented without independent corroboration. One element of the official narrative focused on southeastern Iran, specifically Sistan and Baluchistan province, an area that borders Pakistan and Afghanistan, and has long been a focal point for periodic unrest, militant activity, and security operations. Iranian authorities said one suspect was attempting to establish a new operational cell there, allegedly seeking to leverage a weapon supply to trigger instability. Officials claimed the plan was disrupted before it could be executed, casting the operation as preventive. An intervention, they say, averted a potentially serious internal security incident. Alongside claims about physical weapons and operational planning, Iranian officials have increasingly described what they call a parallel digital arena. In this latest crackdown, authorities allege that at least 2 of those detained were tied to Israeli-linked networks and had worked through social media platforms, attempting to provoke unrest and shape public opinion against the state. Iranian statements describe these efforts as psychological operations aimed at sowing fear, anger, and distrust, part of what Tehran argues is a broader campaign against it that blends covert action with information warfare. All of this unfolds as Iran's security establishment undergoes a major leadership change at one of the country's most sensitive coordinating bodies. Mohammad Bagher Zolgadar, a veteran figure with a long background in Iran's security and military institutions, has been appointed as the new secretary of the Supreme National Security Council. In Iran's governance system, that council plays a central role in coordinating defense, intelligence, and foreign policy decisions at the highest level of the state. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has publicly welcomed Zolgadar's appointment, praising him as a figure connected to decades of the Islamic Republic's political and security history, from the early post-revolution era through the Iran-Iraq War and subsequent domestic security challenges. The appointment is being interpreted inside Iran's political system as more than a routine personnel move, coming at a moment of heightened regional volatility and deepening confrontation with Iran's adversaries. The arrests and security announcements also land amid widening international attention on claims of back-channel diplomacy and a proposed ceasefire framework. Reports circulating in international media, including an Associated Press account, say a multi-point peace. The proposal was conveyed to Iran through intermediaries, with Pakistan mentioned as a potential venue for renewed talks. The details of the plan, including how far it progressed and what specific terms were included, remain contested and politically charged, with no single unified public account accepted by all sides. At the same time, U.S. military movements in and around the Middle East have been reported as part of a broader posture adjustment. According to reporting referenced in the same cycle of coverage, roughly 1,000 U.S. troops from the 82nd Airborne Division were expected to move into the region in the coming days, alongside deployments involving Marine units and supporting naval personnel that would add thousands more service members to the theater. Officials have described such movements in recent months as part of deterrence, force protection, and contingency planning in an increasingly unstable security environment. Against that backdrop, U.S. President Donald Trump has been publicly associated with dramatic claims about Iran's military condition and the trajectory of talks. In remarks circulated in this reporting stream, Trump described negotiations as underway while asserting that Iran's military had been devastated. He said, asterisk, they have no Navy left. They have no Air Force left. They have no anti-aircraft equipment left, no radar left, no leaders left. Asterisk, he continued, asterisk, nobody knows who to talk to, but we're actually talking to the right people. And they want to make a deal so badly, pressed on whether trusted envoys would be involved in direct engagement. Trump portrayed talks as active and multi-channel, saying, asterisk, yeah, well, we're in negotiations. We're in negotiations right now. He added that multiple figures were involved on the U.S. side, while insisting the other side was eager for an agreement. Trump also framed the situation in terms of leadership decapitation and rapid turnover, describing what he labeled a new governing reality. In Tehran, he said, we killed all their leadership, and then they met to choose new leaders, and we killed all of them, and now we have a new group. He then declared this is regime change. In the same remarks, Trump said he approached negotiations without trust, stating, asterisk, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust you. Yet he argued there was a practical reason to keep talking, repeating that Iran would ultimately agree to a deal. He also referenced what he described as a significant present, claiming it was related to energy and shipping dynamics rather than nuclear matters. Trump said they did something yesterday that was amazing. Actually, they gave us a present. He added, I'm not going to tell you what that present is. Later, he specified it was oil and gas related. Asked whether it was connected to maritime choke points, he replied, asterisk, yeah, it was related to the flow and to the strait. Asterisk, Iran's response from its own information ecosystem has been scornful and defiant, with rhetoric aimed at dismissing Trump's reported ceasefire outline as performative and self-serving. In a sharp message attributed to Iranian messaging around the proposal, Tehran mocked the initiative as evidence of failure and rejected the premise that Iran's position could be reset to any earlier status quo. The statement included the line, do not call your defeat an agreement. It continued with a broader warning that from Iran's view, any de-escalation would only occur on Tehran's terms, and only after what it described as hostile intent had been eliminated. The same messaging concluded with a flat rejection of compromise, declaring asterisk, no one will ever come to terms with someone like you. Not now and not at any other time. Aspect as military deployments and political rhetoric intensify, threats and counter-threats are also being amplified through official statements and affiliated outlets. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has issued warnings direct at U.S. forces, with language suggesting U.S. units deploying to the region could be targeted. In one of the most pointed lines carried in this coverage, the Guard suggested that the 82nd Airborne Division could face the same fate as major U.S. naval assets, naming aircraft carriers including the USS Gerald R. Ford and USS Abraham Lincoln, in a threat meant to signal that American power projection could be met with what Tehran claims is a credible retaliatory capability. What remains clear is that the competing narratives are hardening at the same time. Iran presenting mass arrests and seizures as proof it is dismantling foreign-linked sabotage networks, the United States projecting pressure, force readiness, and negotiating leverage, and both sides framing the other as the destabilizing actor. For Iran, the story is built around internal defense, an emphasis on rooting out alleged collaborators, tightening control over communications technologies, and treating both weapons caches, a ND online influence, as part of a single integrated threat picture. For Washington, the story is being cast as coercive advantage and momentum toward a deal, even as troop movements underscore the risks of miscalculation. And for the wider region, the immediate concern is that these parallel tracks raids and arrests on one side, deployments and maximalist statements on the other, can quickly become mutually reinforcing, escalating fear and retaliation dynamics, even when diplomatic channels are rumored to be active behind the scenes. With independent verification limited and with official claims often filtered through political objectives, the coming days will likely hinge on whether credible third-party mediation emerges, whether any formal negotiating framework is publicly acknowledged by both sides, and whether on-the-ground incidents, whether inside Iran, at sea, or across the region, push the confrontation toward de-escalation or a sharper, more dangerous phase.